The stars looked cold from the observation deck of the Velthera mothership. Princess Rena pressed her hand against the transparent wall and stared down at Earth. The blue planet spun slowly below, covered in clouds and oceans. Millions of humans lived down there, going about their daily lives. They had no idea that their entire future hung in the balance. Behind her, the council chamber buzzed with arguing voices. Ambassador Shaylin was speaking again, her voice sharp with disapproval. The ambassador was tall and thin, with silver skin that shimmered under the ship's lights. She gestured at the holographic display showing Earth's cities. "Look at them," Shaylin said. "Wars everywhere. Pollution destroying their own planet. They treat each other terribly. The rich live in towers while the poor starve in the streets. These humans are not ready for the Galactic Coalition." Commander Talvek nodded slowly. He was a warrior, broad-shouldered and serious. His armor gleamed as he crossed his arms. "The princess knows I support her in all things. But Ambassador Shaylin is right to be cautious. Every species we admit to the Coalition receives access to powerful technology. If humans misuse it, the consequences could be catastrophic." Rena turned away from the window. She was young for a princess, barely past her coming of age, but her eyes held wisdom beyond her years. She had spent months studying humanity from orbit, watching their broadcasts, reading their literature, observing their behavior. What she saw confused her. Humans could be so cruel to each other, yet their stories were full of heroes and kindness. Which version was real? "I want to test them," Rena said quietly. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to her. Not their technology or their weapons. "I want to test their hearts. I will go down there disguised as one of them. As someone with nothing. Someone society ignores. If even one human shows me genuine kindness, then they deserve a chance." Shaylin shook her head. "Your Highness, this is foolish. What will one person prove? You might find a kind human by accident. That does not mean their species deserves our technology." "Then I will find no one," Rena replied, "and you will be right. But if I find someone who helps a stranger expecting nothing in return, someone who shows compassion when it costs them something, then that proves humans have the capacity for good. Capacity is what matters. We can help them grow." Talvek stepped forward. "Princess, I must protest. The security risks are too high. If something happens to you down there, it could cause an interstellar incident. Your safety is my responsibility." "Then make sure nothing happens," Rena said with a gentle smile. "Monitor me from orbit. Keep your soldiers ready. But do not interfere unless absolutely necessary. I need to experience humanity as they truly are." 2 hours later, Rena stood in the biotechnology lab. The transformation process was uncomfortable but quick. Her silver skin turned dark brown. Her tall frame compressed to average human height. Her luminescent eyes became ordinary. The technicians added wrinkles, gray hair, worn clothing. When they finished, Rena looked like an elderly Korean woman who had lived a hard life. Someone people would see and then look away from. The teleportation beam deposited her in a quiet alley in New Seoul. It was evening and the air was cold. Rena pulled her thin jacket tighter and stepped onto the main street. The city overwhelmed her senses. Thousands of humans rushed past, everyone in a hurry. Bright signs flashed advertisements. Vehicles hummed along elevated roads. The smell of food mixed with exhaust and perfume. Rena approached a well-dressed woman standing outside a tall building. The woman wore expensive clothes and held a briefcase. This was Hyo Jin Park, a corporate executive. Rena made herself stumble slightly, pretending weakness. "Excuse me," Rena said softly. "Could you help me? I am lost and hungry." Hyojin looked down at her. Disgust flashed across her face. She stepped aside quickly as if Rena carried a disease. "The shelter is 10 blocks east. Don't bother people here." She walked away without looking back. Rena felt a small pain in her chest. She walked further down the street and saw a young man filming himself with a small camera. This was Taeyang Choi, a social media influencer. His clothes were stylish, his hair perfectly arranged. He was talking to his camera about helping the community. Rena approached him carefully. Maybe this one would be different. "Sir, I heard you talking about helping people." "I need help. Just some food, please." Taeyang's eyes lit up. He turned his camera toward her. "Oh, this is perfect." "Yes, Grandma, I will help you. Everyone watching, this is real community service." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small bill. The camera captured everything. But then his phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his smile faded. Actually, I just remembered I have an important meeting. Here, take this. He shoved the bill at her and hurried away, already forgetting about her. The bill was barely enough for a single meal. Rena pocketed it and continued walking. The pain in her chest grew. She tried 3 more people. A doctor named Bo-Ra Lee treated a small cut on her hand but refused to talk to her beyond medical necessity. A street vendor named Wu Jin Song actually yelled at her to leave, saying she was scaring away customers. By midnight, Rena was exhausted. She had walked for hours through the cold city. Dozens of people had passed her. Some pretended not to see her. Others crossed the street to avoid her. A few threw insults. Nobody stopped to truly help. She found a bench near a large building with trucks parked outside. The sign said Waste Management Center. Rena sat down heavily. Maybe Shaylin was right. Maybe humans were too selfish, too broken. She activated her hidden communicator, ready to call for extraction. Then someone spoke behind her. "Excuse me, are you all right?" Rena turned. A young man stood there wearing a bright orange uniform that marked him as a sanitation worker. His clothes were dirty from a day of hard work. His face showed tiredness but also genuine concern. This was Daewon Kim. "I am just cold," Rena said carefully, testing him, "and hungry. But do not worry about me." Daewon sat down beside her without hesitation. He did not seem to notice or care about her appearance. He pulled out a metal thermos from his bag. "Here, this tea is still warm. Please drink it." He opened a small container. "My mother always packs too much food. Please take this rice ball. I already ate." Rena stared at the offerings. Her advanced hearing detected his stomach growling quietly. He had not eaten. He was giving her his own meal. "You do not have to do this," she whispered. "I want to," Daewon said simply. He smiled and it reached his eyes. "Everyone needs help sometimes. There is no shame in that. My name is Daewon. What is yours?" "Song," Rena lied. "You can call me Grandma Song." They sat together for an hour. Daewon did not preach or lecture. He simply talked, sharing stories about his day, his neighborhood, his mother. He listened when Rena spoke, treating her words as valuable. When she shivered, he took off his own jacket and draped it over her shoulders. "The shelter is not far," Daewon said eventually, "but it fills up fast. Let me walk you there. It is not safe for you to walk alone at night." Rena stood wearing his jacket, holding his thermos. She looked at this human who had given her everything he had without knowing who she was or what she could give him in return. He expected nothing. He wanted nothing. He simply saw another person who needed help, and he helped. As they walked together through the cold night, Rena made her decision. One human was enough. One proved that humanity had the capacity for genuine kindness. Daewon did not know it, but his simple act of compassion had just changed the fate of his entire species. Rena did not return to the mothership that night. Instead, she found a small room in a cheap hotel using the money Tae Yang had given her. The room was tiny and cold, but it gave her privacy to think. She sat on the hard bed and replayed every moment with Daewon in her mind. His kindness felt different from anything she had studied about humans. It was not performed for cameras like Tae Yang. It was not cold and professional like Bo-Ra. It was warm and real. But one meeting was not enough. She needed to be sure. Was Daewon truly special, or had she simply caught him on a good day? The next morning, Rena activated her communicator. Commander Talvek's face appeared in the holographic display. He looked relieved to see her. "Your Highness, we were worried. You did not check in." "I am fine," Rena assured him. "I met someone, a human who showed genuine kindness. His name is Daewon Kim." Talvek frowned slightly. "One person, Princess. Out of millions in that city. This hardly seems like a representative sample." "That is why I need more time," Rena said. "I want to observe him more. See how he lives his life. See if his kindness extends beyond one encounter. Your Highness, this is dangerous. The longer you stay down there, the more risks you take. Then protect me from orbit," Rena replied firmly. "But do not call me back yet. I need to understand this human." For the next 3 days, Rena followed Daewon through his daily routine. She kept her distance, using her alien technology to observe without being noticed. What she saw amazed her. Daewon lived in a small apartment in the lower district. The building was old, with cracked walls and narrow hallways. His apartment had only 2 rooms. He shared it with his mother, an elderly woman who moved slowly and coughed often. Rena's scanners detected that the mother suffered from a chronic lung disease. Every morning, Daewon woke before dawn. He prepared breakfast for his mother, making sure she took her medicine. He helped her dress when her hands shook too much. He spoke to her gently with patience and love. Then he left for work. His job was hard. Rena watched him collect garbage from thousands of homes, lifting heavy bags in all kinds of weather. Other workers complained constantly, but Daewon never did. He greeted everyone he met with a smile. He thanked people who left their waste sorted properly. He even cleaned up extra messes that were not his responsibility. During his lunch break on the second day, Rena saw something remarkable. An old man was struggling to carry bags of groceries up a steep street. His arms shook with effort. Most people walked past without stopping, but Daewon put down his own food and hurried to help. "Let me help you, grandfather," Daewon said, taking the heavy bags. He carried them all the way to the man's home 3 blocks away. The old man tried to give him money as thanks. Daewon refused. "No need, grandfather. I hope someone helps my mother the same way when she needs it." That evening, Rena followed Daewon to a community center. She learned that he volunteered there every Tuesday and Thursday. He helped serve dinner to homeless people. He talked with them, learned their names, treated them like friends rather than charity cases. One of the volunteers, a woman named Yumi, approached him while he was washing dishes. "Daewon, you look tired. You work so hard at your job. You should rest instead of volunteering." Daewon smiled as he scrubbed a pot.
"I am fine, Yumi. Besides, these people need help."
"If I am tired, I can rest later. But if they go hungry tonight, they cannot get that time back." On the third day, Rena observed something that troubled her. She saw how other people treated Daewon. In the wealthy parts of the city, people looked down on him. They saw his orange uniform and turned away. They treated him as invisible, or worse, as less than human. A well-dressed man actually cursed at him for blocking the sidewalk with his garbage truck. A group of teenagers laughed and called him names. A restaurant owner refused to let him use the bathroom, saying it was for customers only. Daewon endured it all with quiet dignity. He never responded with anger. He simply moved on. That evening, Rena contacted the mothership again. This time, Ambassador Shaylin joined the call. The ambassador looked skeptical as always. "So, Princess," Shaylin said, "you found one kind human. What does this prove?" "I could find one kind individual in any species. Even the most violent civilizations have occasional good people. You need to judge humanity by their society, not by exceptions." Rena felt frustration rising in her chest. But this human is not just accidentally kind. He chooses kindness every single day, even when it costs him, even when society treats him terribly, even when nobody is watching. That is not an exception. That is character. "Character does not matter if the system crushes it," Shaylin replied coldly. "Look at how they treat this Daewon. He is kind, yet he is poor. He is generous, yet society gives him nothing. This proves my point. Human civilization does not reward goodness. It rewards selfishness and greed." Commander Talvek spoke more gently. "Princess, perhaps you should reveal yourself to this human. Test him one more time. See if his kindness remains when he knows who you truly are. Many beings act kind when they think someone is helpless, but when they learn that person has power, their true nature appears." Rena considered this. It was a fair test. Would Daewon try to use her identity for personal gain? Would he ask for rewards? Would his kindness disappear when he realized she had been testing him? "Very well," Rena agreed. "But first, I will test him one more time without revealing myself." The next day, Rena prepared her final test as the disguised Grandma Song. She created a fake credit chip using her technology. The chip contained enough money to change a human's life completely. Millions of one. Enough to buy a house, pay for medical treatment, live comfortably for years. She waited near the waste management center where Daewon finished his shifts. When he walked past, she pretended to stumble and dropped the credit chip directly in front of him. Then she walked away slowly, as if she had not noticed. Rena watched from around a corner. Daewon picked up the chip. He looked at it closely. His eyes widened slightly as he saw the amount displayed. For a long moment, he stood perfectly still. Rena held her breath. This was the moment that mattered. Then Daewon ran. He ran after her, calling out, "Grandmother Song, wait! You dropped something." Rena turned, pretending surprise. Daewon reached her, breathing hard from running. He held out the credit chip. "This is yours. You dropped it back there. Please be more careful. This is a lot of money. Rena took the chip slowly. You could have kept it, she said quietly. Nobody would have known. Daewon looked genuinely confused by the suggestion. But it is not mine. It is yours. Why would I keep it? He smiled. Besides, I would know. That would make it impossible to live with myself. Rena tried one more time. Please take some as a reward. For your honesty. Daewon shook his head firmly. No, grandmother. I do not need a reward for doing what is right. Anyone should return lost property. It is basic human decency. He patted her hand gently. Please take care of yourself, and be more careful with your belongings. Then he walked away, returning to his normal life without a second thought. He had just turned down enough money to solve all his problems, to save his mother, to change his entire existence. And he did it without hesitation. Rena stood in the street for a long time, holding the credit chip. She had her answer. Daewon was not kind because it benefited him. He was not good because someone was watching. He was simply, truly, genuinely a good person. Such humans did exist. That night she sent a message to Daewon's personal device. The message was simple. Meet me at Hangang Park tomorrow at sunset. I have something important to tell you. From Grandma Song. It was time to reveal the truth. Time to see if his kindness could survive learning that he had been tested all along. Rena hoped with all her heart that she had not misjudged him. Because the future of billions of humans now depended on one sanitation worker's character. Daewon arrived at Hangang Park as the sun began to set. The sky was painted orange and pink, reflecting off the river's surface. He looked around nervously, wondering why Grandma Song wanted to meet him here. Was she in trouble? Did she need more help? He saw a figure standing by the water, but it was not the elderly woman he expected. This person was tall and radiant, with skin that seemed to glow softly in the fading light. Her eyes held colors that should not exist in human eyes. She wore clothes made of material that shimmered and shifted. Daewon stopped walking. His mouth fell open. The figure turned toward him and smiled sadly. When she spoke, he recognized the voice. It was Grandma Song's voice, but different, clearer, stronger. Hello, Daewon, Rena said softly. Thank you for coming. I know this must be confusing. Grandma Song, Daewon managed to say. What happened to you? Are you all right? Rena felt warmth in her chest at his words. Even now, seeing something impossible, his first thought was concern for her well-being. I am perfectly well. In fact, I was never in danger. Please sit. I have much to explain. They sat on a bench overlooking the water. Rena told him everything. She explained about the Velthara Empire, about the Galactic Coalition, about the debate over humanity's worthiness. She described how she had disguised herself to test humans, how dozens had failed, how he alone had passed. Daewon listened in stunned silence. His hands gripped the edge of the bench. When she finished, he sat quietly for a long moment, processing everything. Finally, he spoke. So you were never really homeless? Never really in danger? No, Rena admitted. It was a test. I needed to see humanity's true nature. Daewon nodded slowly. I understand. You needed to know if we were worth helping. He looked out at the water. And what did you decide? You were the only one who passed, Rena said gently. Out of everyone I met, you alone showed genuine kindness. That is sad, Daewon said quietly. But not surprising. Our world is not always kind to kindness. He turned to look at her directly. May I ask you something? Of course, why me? I am nobody special. I am just a sanitation worker. There are doctors, scientists, teachers, people who help thousands. Why did I matter? Rena felt something break open in her heart. Because you helped someone when you had nothing to gain. You gave your food to a stranger when you were hungry. You gave your jacket when you were cold. You returned money that could have changed your life. You did not help me because I was important. You helped me because I needed help. That is everything. Daewon looked embarrassed. Anyone should do those things. They are basic human decency. Should, yes, Rena said, but most do not. That is the problem. Your society values the wrong things. It rewards people like Hyojin Park who have money but no compassion. It ignores people like you who have compassion but no money. Why is that? Daewon thought carefully before answering. Because our systems are broken. We built a world that measures worth in money instead of character. But systems can change. They are made by humans, so humans can remake them. It just takes time. and it takes people willing to be kind even when the system does not reward it. Do you really believe humans can change? Rena asked. I have seen so much cruelty in your world. Yes, Day One said firmly. We are not perfect. We make terrible mistakes. But every generation tries to be better than the last. We learn, we grow, slowly, but we do. Give us time and guidance and we will surprise you. Rena wanted to believe him. She wanted to tell the coalition that humanity deserved a chance. But doubt still lingered. How can you be so sure? You are one person. What if you are the exception? I am not special, Day One insisted. My mother taught me to be kind. Her mother taught her. These values are passed down. They exist in many people. They just need to be encouraged instead of crushed by difficult circumstances. Before Rena could respond, her communicator suddenly activated. Commander Talavek's voice cut through urgently. Your Highness, we have a situation. Sensors detect 3 Krell signatures materializing in your location. They know who you are. You need to evacuate immediately. Rena stood quickly, activating her personal shield. 3 figures shimmered into existence nearby. They were Krell warriors, reptilian beings in combat armor. Their weapons hummed with deadly energy. The leader's eyes fixed on Rena. Princess Rena of the Velthara Empire, the Krell hissed. You will come with us. The Krell Dominion has questions about your presence on this primitive world. Day One had stood up too. He did not understand everything happening, but he understood danger. He moved closer to Rena, positioning himself slightly in front of her. The Krell leader noticed him for the first time. Step aside, human. This does not concern your species. We have no interest in harming you if you do not interfere. She is my friend, Day One said, his voice steady despite his fear. I will not leave her. Rena grabbed his arm. Day One, please go. They will kill you without hesitation. This is not your fight. You came to Earth to test us, Day One said, not moving, to see if humans were worth saving. Well, this is your answer. I cannot fight them. I have no powers or weapons, but I will not abandon a friend in danger. That is what humanity can be. The Krell warriors laughed, a harsh sound. How touching. The primitive ape thinks he can protect a princess. Very well. You will die first, then. The lead Krell raised his weapon. Energy gathered at its tip, ready to fire. Rena's shield would protect her, but Day One had nothing. Time seemed to slow down. She had seconds to decide. She could teleport to safety, leaving him to die. Or she could try to protect him and risk being captured. Rena made her choice. She extended her shield to cover Day One too, even though it would drain her energy much faster. Commander Talvek, she said into her communicator. I need immediate extraction. For 2. Negative, Your Highness, Talvek responded. The Krell are jamming teleportation frequencies. We cannot extract you until the jamming stops. Hold your position. Warriors are deploying now. The Krell fired. The energy bolt hit Rena's shield, making it flicker. She would not be able to hold it long against 3 attackers. The Krell spread out, surrounding them. Then something unexpected happened. Day One pulled out his personal device and pressed the emergency alert button. Immediately, a loud alarm sounded across the entire park. His device sent an automatic message to every other device nearby, warning of an alien threat. Within seconds, people started appearing. Dozens of them drawn by the emergency alert. They came from nearby streets, from buildings, from the river path. They saw the alien warriors and the shimmering shield. They saw Day One and Rena surrounded, and they did not run away. The humans charged forward, shouting, throwing rocks, creating chaos. They had no weapons that could hurt the Krell, but they had numbers and unpredictability. The Krell warriors were confused by this sudden mob of screaming, aggressive humans. One of the humans was Hyojin Park. Another was Tai Yang Choi. Even Bo Ra Lee was there. All the people who had ignored Rena when she was disguised now rushed to help when they saw danger. The distraction gave Talvek's warriors the seconds they needed. Velthera soldiers materialized in flashes of light, weapons ready. The battle was over in moments. The Krell warriors were disarmed and restrained before they could harm anyone. But during the chaos, one Krell energy blast had grazed Day One's shoulder. He fell to his knees, clutching the burn. It was not fatal, but it was painful. Blood seeped between his fingers. Rena dropped beside him immediately. Day One, you are hurt. I am so sorry. This is my fault. He managed a weak smile despite the pain. Worth it. You are safe. That is what matters. Dr. Bora Lee pushed through the crowd. Her medical training took over. She knelt beside Daewon and began treating his wound, her hands steady and sure. "You will be fine," she said, and her voice was warm this time, not cold like when she had treated the disguised Rena. Rena watched the scene around her. The humans who had come to help now stood catching their breath. Many had no idea what just happened, but they had come when the alarm sounded. They had helped. Maybe, Rena thought, maybe humanity was more complicated than she had believed. They were capable of both cruelty and courage. The question was which one they would choose to cultivate. And Daewon had just shown her that at least some humans would always choose courage. The attack in the park changed everything. Within an hour, footage of the incident had spread across every human news network. Video captured by hundreds of personal devices showed alien warriors, energy weapons, and a glowing shield protecting two figures. The world watched in shock and wonder. Earth governments scrambled to respond. Military forces went on high alert. Scientists demanded answers. Religious leaders debated meanings. Everyone wanted to know what had happened in Hangang Park and what it meant for humanity. Rena insisted on staying at the hospital with Daewon, despite Commander Talvek's protests. "Your Highness, we need to return to the mothership. This incident has created a diplomatic crisis. The Galactic Coalition is sending observers. You must be present." "I will not leave until I know Daewon is stable," Rena replied firmly. She sat beside his hospital bed, holding his hand. "He was injured protecting me. I will not abandon him now." Daewon drifted in and out of consciousness, the pain medication making him drowsy. When his eyes opened and he saw Rena still there, he smiled weakly. "You should go. You have important things to do." "Nothing is more important than this," Rena said softly. Dr. Bora Lee worked efficiently, cleaning and bandaging his wound. The energy burn was serious but not life-threatening. With proper care, he would recover fully. As Bora worked, she spoke quietly. "I am sorry, Daewon. I treated you badly before, when you were helping that old woman." She glanced at Rena. "I did not know she was a princess, but that should not matter. I should have been kinder regardless." Daewon managed a small laugh despite his pain. "It is okay, Doctor. We all make mistakes. What matters is learning from them." Outside the hospital room, chaos continued. News crews had gathered. Security officers tried to maintain order. But one group pushed through with official authority. They were representatives from Earth's United Government Council. The lead representative, a stern woman named President Ha-Young Chen, entered the room with armed guards. She looked at Rena with a mixture of fear and awe. "Princess Rena, I am President Chen. We need answers. What is happening? Why are you here? Are we in danger?" Rena stood, drawing herself to her full height. Even in her alien form, she projected royal authority. "President Chen, your world is not in danger from my people. We came to evaluate whether humanity is ready to join the Galactic Coalition. The attack you witnessed was from a rival faction that opposes your admission." The president's expression shifted between emotions. "Join a galactic organization? This is beyond anything we imagined. What do you mean by ready? What are your criteria?" "We evaluate many factors," Rena explained. "Technology, social development, but most importantly, character. The capacity for compassion and growth." She gestured to Daewon. "This man represents the best of what humanity can be. He showed kindness when others showed cruelty. He risked his life for a stranger. If more humans were like him, your species would be welcome anywhere in the galaxy." President Chen looked at Daewon with new eyes. "A sanitation worker? You are judging all of humanity based on a sanitation worker?" The dismissive tone in her voice made Rena's eyes flash with anger. "I am judging you based on character, not job titles. Daewon has more honor in one finger than most of your wealthy and powerful combined. That is precisely the problem with your civilization. You measure worth in all the wrong ways." President Chen had the grace to look embarrassed. "You are right. I apologize." She turned to Daewon. "Mr. Kim, on behalf of Earth's government, I thank you for your courage. You may have saved our chance at a better future." Daewon looked uncomfortable with the attention. "I just did what anyone should do. Help a friend." Commander Talvek entered the room then, his expression grave. "Your Highness, the Coalition has called for an emergency hearing. You must testify about your findings. The vote on humanity's application will happen in 3 days." Rena nodded. I will come. But Earth will need representation too. President Chen, you should attend. And Daewon, if you are well enough, I want you there as well. Me? Daewon asked in surprise. I am not a diplomat or a leader. What could I say that would matter? You can speak the truth, Rena said. The coalition needs to hear from a real human, not just politicians and officials. They need to understand what humanity is capable of becoming. 2 days later, Daewon was released from the hospital. His shoulder still hurt, but Dr. Bora assured him it would heal completely. Before he left, dozens of people came to visit him. Many were the same people who had rushed to help during the attack in the park. Hyojin Park came with flowers and an apology. I am sorry for how I treated you, and for how I treated that old woman in the street. I was wrong. I spent too long thinking money made people valuable. Taeyang Choi visited too, without his camera for once. I have been thinking about what real community service means. Not just filming it for views, but actually doing it. Maybe you could teach me? Even Woo Jin Song, the street vendor who had chased Rena away, came to apologize. I was afraid of losing business. But I was wrong. Fear made me cruel. That is not who I want to be. Daewon forgave them all. He understood that people made mistakes, that society taught them to be selfish. What mattered was their willingness to learn and change. That was humanity's true strength. On the third day, a Velthara transport ship arrived to take the Earth delegation to the Coalition space station. Daewon had never been in space before. His mother came to see him off, tears in her eyes. Rena's advanced medical technology had already cured her lung disease as thanks for raising such a good son. Be brave, my son, his mother said, hugging him carefully to avoid his injured shoulder. Speak from your heart. That is all you need to do. The journey through space took only hours with Velthara technology. Daewon pressed his face to the viewing window, watching Earth shrink behind them. He saw the stars in a way few humans ever had. The universe was so much bigger than he had imagined. The Coalition space station was enormous, a structure that dwarfed entire cities. Ships from dozens of alien species docked at various ports. Rena guided Daewon and President Chen through corridors filled with beings of every imaginable form. They entered the Grand Council chamber. 50 species were represented, each with their own delegation. The room was circular, with seats rising in tiers. At the center was a speaking platform. The architecture was beautiful and intimidating. Ambassador Shaylin presented first. She showed data about humanity's conflicts, environmental damage, and social inequality. Her evidence was damning and accurate. Many council members nodded in agreement with her assessment. Then Rena spoke. She presented her findings differently. She showed footage of the humans who had rushed to help during the Krell attack. She talked about Daewon's consistent kindness. She argued that humanity's flaws were real, but their capacity for growth was equally real. Members of the council, Rena said, her voice carrying through the chamber. Every species in this room was once primitive. Every civilization had to grow and learn. What matters is not where humanity is now, but where they can go with guidance. I met one human who proved they have the capacity for genuine goodness. One is enough to show potential. Give them the chance to spread that goodness to others. A council member from a species called the Torvin spoke up. But Princess, one good individual does not represent an entire species. We need more evidence. Rena gestured to Daewon. Then ask him yourself. Let humanity speak for humanity. Daewon walked to the speaking platform on shaking legs. 50 alien species stared at him. The weight of billions of human lives rested on his words. He was just a sanitation worker from New Seoul. What could he possibly say that would matter? Then he remembered his mother's words. Speak from the heart. He took a deep breath and began. Honored council members, Daewon said, his voice gaining strength. I am not a scientist or a leader. I am just an ordinary person. And yes, we humans have many problems. We have inequality, conflict, and cruelty. I have seen it myself. I have experienced it. But I have also seen something else. I have seen people change. I have seen the same people who ignored suffering rush to help when they understood the danger. I have seen wealthy executives apologize for their arrogance. I have seen selfish influencers ask to learn compassion. He paused, gathering his thoughts. We are not perfect. We do not claim to be. But we are learning. Every generation tries to be better than the last. We make mistakes, but we learn from them. Give us this chance. Give us guidance and time. We will surprise you with how much we can grow. All we ask is the opportunity to prove we are worth believing in." The chamber fell silent. Day One walked back to his seat, heart pounding. He had done his best. Now the fate of humanity rested in the hands of 50 alien species, who would decide if his people deserved a future among the stars. The council deliberated for 6 hours. Day One, Rena, and President Chen waited in a private chamber. None of them could sit still. The tension was unbearable. Everything depended on what happened next. "You spoke well," President Chen told Day One. "Better than any trained diplomat could have. You spoke truth." "I just said what I felt," Day One replied quietly. "I do not know if it was enough." Rena paced the room. She had argued as passionately as she could. She had shown them the best and worst of humanity. But she had no idea which way the council would decide. 50 species, each with their own opinions and agendas. The vote needed a 2/3 majority to pass. Finally, a chime sounded. Commander Telvek entered the chamber. "The council has reached a decision. They are calling everyone back." They walked back into the Grand Council chamber. The 50 delegations sat in their places, faces unreadable. The council speaker, an ancient being from a species called the Eldest, rose to address them. His voice was like wind through ancient trees. "We have considered all evidence presented. We have debated humanity's worthiness. This decision was not easy. Many members argued for rejection. Many argued for full acceptance. In the end, we have created something new." Day One held his breath. Rena gripped the arms of her chair. President Chen leaned forward. "Humanity is granted provisional membership in the Galactic Coalition," the speaker announced. "This status has never been offered before. You will receive access to basic coalition resources, technology, and trade. However, you will be monitored closely. Every 10 Earth years, your membership will be reviewed. If you show genuine progress in reducing inequality, protecting your environment, and resolving conflicts peacefully, your status will advance. If you regress, your membership will be revoked." The speaker looked directly at Day One. "Young human, your words moved many council members. You did not claim perfection. You acknowledged your flaws honestly. You asked only for a chance to grow. That humility, that self-awareness is what convinced us to take this risk. Do not waste this opportunity." President Chen stood and bowed deeply. "On behalf of humanity, we accept these terms gratefully. We will not disappoint you." The council session ended. Delegations began filing out. Some alien representatives approached the Earth group to offer congratulations. Others remained skeptical but polite. The Krell Dominion representative glared but said nothing. Ambassador Shaylin approached Rena. The ambassador's expression was complex. "Your Highness, I oppose this decision, but I will admit you were right about one thing. That human," she nodded toward Day One, "he does represent something valuable. Perhaps humanity does deserve this chance." Rena smiled. "Thank you, Ambassador. Your skepticism kept me honest. It forced me to truly examine humanity, not just see what I wanted to see." After all the formal proceedings ended, Rena asked for one more day on Earth before returning to her duties. She wanted to say goodbye to Day One properly. Commander Talvek agreed, though he insisted on maintaining a security presence. They returned to Hangang Park, to the same bench where Day One had first offered her his tea and rice ball. It felt like a lifetime ago, though only a week had passed. The evening was calm, with the river reflecting the sunset. Rena turned to Day One. "I want to offer you something. Your actions saved humanity's future. Let me reward you. I can arrange for you to become Earth's official liaison to the Velthara Empire. It is a position of great importance and respect. You would have wealth, status, everything society currently denies you." Day One was quiet for a moment. Then he shook his head gently. "Thank you, Rena. That is incredibly generous. But I need to stay here, in my neighborhood, with my community." "But why?" Rena asked, confused. "You could help shape humanity's future on a grand scale." "Because change does not just happen at the top," Day One explained. "It happens in small acts of kindness every day. In neighborhoods and communities. Someone needs to stay and do that work. Someone needs to keep being kind when nobody is watching, when there are no cameras or councils. That is what really changes society. If everyone with good intentions leaves for bigger opportunities, who will help the people right here who need it?" Rena felt tears forming in her eyes. This was exactly why she had chosen correctly. Day One did not want recognition or reward. He simply wanted to make his small part of the world better. That quiet dedication was worth more than any grand gesture. "You are remarkable," Rena said softly. "I hope you know that." "I am ordinary," Daewon corrected with a smile. "That is the point. Any human can choose to be kind. Any human can choose to help others. I am not special. I am just proof that it is possible." They sat together as the sun set, two beings from different worlds who had formed an unlikely friendship. Rena knew she would return to the Velthara Empire and continue her duties. But she would never forget this human who had taught her that true worth was not measured in power or status, but in compassion and character. "Will you visit?" Daewon asked. "Yes," Rena promised. "I will check on humanity's progress, and I will check on you specifically, to make sure you are taking care of yourself, not just everyone else." Daewon laughed. "I will try. My mother will make sure of it. She likes you, by the way. She says you have a good heart." "Your mother raised a good son," Rena said. "Perhaps I should learn from her. She clearly understands something many civilizations have forgotten." The next morning, Rena returned to the mothership. Earth immediately began receiving coalition technology and knowledge. Clean energy systems replaced polluting power plants. Medical advances cured diseases. Agricultural improvements ended hunger in many regions. The changes happened quickly, almost miraculously. But more importantly, Daewon's story spread across the planet. Every news network covered it. His simple act of kindness had literally saved humanity. Children learned about him in schools. Adults discussed his philosophy. Social movements began demanding that society value character over wealth. Of course, not everyone changed immediately. Old prejudices and systems were stubborn. But slowly, gradually, humanity began to shift. More people volunteered. More people helped strangers. More people chose kindness even when it was difficult. 5 years passed. Daewon still worked as a sanitation worker, though he had been offered countless other positions. He also volunteered at the community center 3 times a week now instead of 2. He taught classes about compassion and service. Young people came from across the city to learn from him. His mother had recovered completely thanks to Velthara medical technology. She spent her days helping at a local school, teaching children about kindness. The cycle continued. One evening, as Daewon finished his shift, he saw someone sitting on the bench near the waste management center. It was a young teenager who looked lost and sad. Daewon approached without hesitation. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. "Do you need any help?" The teenager looked up, eyes red from crying. "I am lost. I do not know where to go." Daewon sat down beside him. He pulled out his thermos, still full of his mother's tea. "Here, drink this. It will help you feel better. Then we can figure out where you need to be. My name is Daewon." Up on the mothership in orbit, Rena watched through her monitoring systems. She smiled. Daewon was still being Daewon, still helping anyone who needed it, still proving that humanity had the capacity for goodness. She prepared her report for the Coalition's 5-year review. Earth had made significant progress. Inequality had decreased by 18%. Environmental damage had been reversed in many areas. Violent conflicts had reduced by 30%. The numbers were good, but what mattered most to Rena was different data. Volunteer rates had increased by 200%. Acts of kindness were being recorded and celebrated. Communities were coming together. Humans were learning to value each other properly. Ambassador Shaylin reviewed the report and nodded approvingly. "You were right, Your Highness. They are changing. Slowly but genuinely. Perhaps humans do deserve their place in the galaxy after all." Rena looked down at Earth, at the blue planet that had surprised her so much. They always deserved it. They just needed someone to believe in them first. And someone to show them what they could become. Down in New Seoul, Daewon walked the teenager home, making sure he was safe. Another simple act of kindness. Another small ripple spreading outward. The universe was vast, but change always started with one person choosing to be good. That was humanity's secret strength. Not technology or weapons or grand achievements. Just the stubborn determination to keep being kind. One person at a time, one day at a time, until kindness became the normal way of existing. And it all started because one sanitation worker offered tea and a rice ball to an old woman on a cold night, expecting nothing in return. Sometimes the smallest acts have the biggest consequences. Sometimes one person really can change the fate of billions. The story of Daewon and Rena became legend, told across 100 worlds. It became proof that any species, no matter how flawed, could grow into something better. All they needed was someone to show them it was possible, and someone to believe they were worth the effort. Humanity had been given a chance. And humanity, slowly but surely, was proving that they deserved it.